This is your Taurus season meditation practice. We'll begin with a gentle seated practice in a comfortable seat. And so that's why I was grabbing this blanket, because when I sit down, I always forget this. When I sit down on a bolster with my feet on the bare floor, it kind of hurts my ankles. And so to tap into that Taurus energy, we want to be super supported and super comfortable to tap into that energy. So I'm grabbing a blanket and putting it over my bolster. And so there, now you can see that. And so then the blanket will be underneath my ankles as I cross my legs. And so as you're settling into your comfortable seat, can you notice your base? Can you first find your pelvis? So as you settle in, you might have to put your pants up, move flesh out of the way, whatever it's going to take to be really comfortable, because we're going to do the entirety of practice in this position. As always, when we get to the meditation portion, I usually like to offer you to lie down if you prefer, but if you don't prefer, we'll be seated like this for a little while. So can you maybe take the other leg in front that you don't usually? That's sometimes interesting. And can you notice, can you find your sits bones? So especially if you're on something very cushy like I am, it might be harder to find. If you're sitting on blocks or the floor or something harder, you might be able to find your sits bones more. Can you make contact with them? Can you really find those two bones at the bottom of your pelvis and feel them pressing down into whatever's under you, whether it's a prop or the floor? And if you can't, is there something you can do, like maybe shift forward? That usually helps move some flesh out of the way to find them. And then once you do find them, can you create a sense of ease and lift coming up from that place? So frequently, if you can't find them, it might be that you're rocking backwards on the pelvis, which means that your spine is then rounding backwards. So can you find them, find rib cage over pelvis, perhaps find your hands on your lap, and then settle in. What could you allow to settle, like the sediment in a snow globe or the mud in a river after a lot of rain? Can you just allow it to cease its churning, whether that's something in the mind or something in the body? As you settle into this shape, can you tap more deeply into the sensations at your base? So we started with checking in with those sits bones. Can you then maybe also notice your feet or your hands on your lap? Just anywhere making contact with support below you, and just check in with what those sensations are. Comfort, discomfort. Hopefully if it's discomfort, you can do something to address that. Like I went and grabbed this blanket to be under my feet to make my feet more comfortable. If you want to tap into that Taurus, Venus-ruled Taurus energy of stability and comfort. So can you really embody that and find that in the shape you're in? And then as you do that, can you notice your breath? If you haven't already, notice if you have a tendency to immediately begin controlling and changing your breath before you even take good stock of it, take good notice of what the natural qualities and level of your breath is as you enter the practice. So if you're like me and I've been sitting here talking and getting situated and fidgeting, my breath is a little bit quickened compared to what it might be towards the end of a practice or after I've been settled and still. So maybe you had a lot of caffeine, or you've had a stressful day, you've been in traffic, you were rushing to get to your mat. Maybe one of those things is true. Or maybe you've just woken up, or you haven't been in traffic, your life is your stress is relatively under control in your life. I don't want to say stress-free. I don't know anybody whose life is completely stress-free. The goal is to just move towards regulated stress, right? Stress is not inherently bad. It's out of control stress that is. So can you notice the imprint of your life on your physiology, on your breath? And now, if you haven't already, can you start allowing that breath to become deeper? You notice if there's any movement happening in your torso, your entire torso, your ribcage and abdomen, as you breathe. And then as you inhale, whatever you notice, can you expand through the entire torso? So you could take your hands like I'm doing and expand, or you could keep them on your lap. As you inhale, feel that expansion, belly, rib cage, all the way up to your collarbones. Exhale, feel a contracting, a softening, perhaps deflating. Inhale to expand, rise, cultivate a sense of lightness. Exhale to turn inwards, contract, deflate, root down and ground on the exhale. And so just start to follow this movement of your torso with your breath, with your awareness. So inhale, feel the expansion, the rise. Exhale, feel the contraction and the turning earthward, the rooting down on the exhale. And slowly, you might start to let your expansion turn into the littlest back bend. So as you inhale and feel that expansion through the belly, through the rib cage, you might let the rib cage even start to inflate upwards. So we're not dropping the head back, just letting the back arch a little bit on the inhale, and on the exhale, as you feel that contraction, can you feel your low ribs contracting down towards your belly button towards spine, and then inhale, feel that expansion through the entire torso, slight arch, exhale, contraction, slight rounding, and just allow that inhale to expand, to rise, to lift, exhale to contract, to turn inwards, to ground on the exhale. Allow it to just evolve until you find yourself moving through a seated cat-cow. And as you do that, you might also notice the rock of your pelvis as you start to let the movement grow and expand. You might start to feel your pelvis rock on whatever support you're on. So we started tapping into the sits bones. Can you feel as you inhale, you should really be able to feel those sits bones. You might even feel your pelvis tilt forward on them, but as you exhale, you might rock back so much so the pelvis is tilting back, so you might not feel your sits bones anymore. You might even feel your tailbone. So inhale forward, expand, exhale back, contract and ground. And then you might let this movement then evolve into any other movement. If maybe turning your head to one side calls to you, rocking side to side, maybe even moving into some what they call them, I think Kundalini yoga, they call these Sufi grinds, where you might kind of like you're a mortar and pestle, and the bowl of your pelvis is the mortar, and your torso is the pestle spinning around. Can you do that? Whatever movement, you might not be doing those Sufi grinds, whatever movement calls to you as you maybe bend your neck, turn your head, let your rib cage move side to side, let your shoulders move with it. Can you still tap into that? Inhale expands you, exhale grounds you. And can you continue keeping that firm connection with your base as you let your torso move around, tapping into that embodied stillness and stability of the sign of Taurus. And then also reveling in the sensations that you find as you move around, luxuriating in the sensuality of it, like Venus, the ruler of Taurus, would ask you to do. So 2 more full breaths with this practice. Whatever movement's calling to you, maybe you close your eyes and just feel into it. Try not to move like a dance or like in any kind of calculated way. Just letting your inhale expand you, exhale contract you. And then on the next inhale, We'll find our way back towards a neutral spine and exhale, just allow yourself to settle there. Allow yourself to notice. We were just in the analogy shaking the snow globe. So allow that sediment to settle and see how you landed as you find stillness. And then with the next inhale, we'll bring the hands out and up, perhaps all the way to touch at the top, but it's not that serious if they don't. Exhale, we'll bring the hands out and down. Inhale, hands out and up. Just linking breath with movement again, slowing down the breath again. Exhale, out and down. Next time you inhale out and up, with an exhale, we'll cactus the arms. And inhale to find that little back bend, lift the heart. Keep the back of the neck long. And then exhale, palms touch, elbows touch. Inhale, open. Can you maintain that stability as you exhale? Half slight round. Inhale and open. Exhale, contract. Inhale, expand. And this time on the inhale, expand. With an exhale, we'll just feel that spine come back to neutral. So arms stay cactus, rib cage comes back down, and then we'll plant the right hand, left hand reaches overhead to inhale. Exhale, windmill it over, and then inhale, when you find that left hand stable and planted, inhale into that right side of the body as you side bend. So inhale, up and over. Exhale, plant. And this time, exhale, up and over. And inhale to expand into the shape. And then with the next time we exhale over, plant right hand, inhale, left hand reaches. With an exhale, can you turn your head towards that right hand? And then inhale, turn your head, nothing else moves, towards the ceiling, towards your top arm, towards the sky. So just feel that. Exhale, face the floor. Inhale, face the sky. What is happening in the rest of your body? Are you able to maintain that stability, especially through your left hip? Are you scrunching your shoulders? Can you find spaciousness in your neck as you do that? And next time your gaze turns upwards, with an exhale, we'll windmill all the way around, all the way to that. Now left hand plants, inhale that right hand up. And exhale to really root down and even out more through your face. And then turn that head towards the left hand. Inhale, gaze lifts skywards. Maybe you even feel a slight opening as that shoulder or right side of the rib cage rolls back. And then find what you find as you exhale, turn your gaze down. Inhale, turn it up. Perhaps you notice, perhaps that highlights maybe ways you were scrunching your shoulders up or letting that right hip rise. Maintain your stability here as you revel in the sensations that you find. And the next time your gaze turns up, with an inhale, we'll reach all the way back up, and then exhale, hands drop all the way down. And then we'll practice just a bit of face yoga before we move into our meditation practice. So stay comfortable in your seat. If you would rather go ahead and lay down, if you're planning to lay down for our meditation practice, that's fine. We'll start off with just taking 3 fingers on each hand and tapping near the center of your forehead. So you can think of this like your third eye, just gentle taps with 3 fingers on each hand. You might kind of feel that there's a little divot. It's like where 2 bones meet at the center of your forehead. Just tapping there until you feel a release of tension through the forehead. So your head Your brow might soften as you do that, and then you'll start to move out your forehead. And when you get to about your temples, go back in a few strokes, center of forehead, out to the temples, just tapping. And then we'll tap a few times right above the eyebrows, same 3 fingers, tapping right above the eyebrows. And then we'll tap out to the temples. Again, 3 fingers each hand, tapping on the temples. Until you feel a release of tension, you can tap in one place, or you can allow the tapping to kind of move across the temples. Sorry, I keep bumping the microphone. It makes a loud noise. And then we'll move the tapping to the sinuses. So right there on the cheekbones, right at the bottom of your eye sockets, 3 fingers tapping. You could stay in one place, or you could kind of move outwards. Switch my legs. You don't have to do that, but might be nice. Switch the cross of your legs. And so after tapping the sinuses, maybe you're staying in one place and moving out, we're going to turn the fingers tapping to vertically, and kind of tap right next to the nose. An option here to keep it right there, or to let it move out your cheeks. And then we'll tap along the jawline, in and out, along the jaw. And then option to do that same routine again with tapping, or if you like, if it feels okay, you can rub. So first that was along the forehead, forehead out to temples. Forehead out to temples. So you could be tapping 3 fingers, rubbing either sinuses or all the way, you can like kind of take your finger flat and rub it all the way to the temples. Or you could just be doing the sinuses right at the eyebrows. And then we'll rub from basically like the corner of the eye out across the cheekbone. You could still be tapping instead. And then we'll go down. So across the cheekbone and then down the jawline. And then we'll take opposite hand. If you can find the like lymph node behind your ear, you could just start behind your jaw, below your ear, and rub down the neck on one side. And then same thing, other side, behind the jawline, below the ear. That's kind of roughly where your lymph nodes are, rub down with the opposite hand. And then if there's anything else that you would like to do, you can massage into your neck, you can turn your head, massage the neck, whatever you feel called to do, or rub any more of your face. That feels nice. And then when you feel ready, let that go and just settle and just feel. I didn't ask you, usually I'll ask you to check in before and check after, but how does your face feel? Does it feel like you released any tension? Even though we didn't necessarily do a baseline check. Just feel that softness and perhaps a sweetness creeping across your face, like the Buddha's half smile, letting just the corners of your mouth turn up, not in an intentional smile. You could smile if you wanted to, but in just like a relaxing of the muscles that might pull the corners of the mouth down. So not to intentionally work towards a smile, but to just let a soft sweetness creep across the face. And then can you check in with the sensations of your base again? And check in with the sensations of your breath. Is there any movement happening with the breath? And now with each inhale, can you inhale up from that base, letting this steady, stable energy of your connection with the earth via your feet and your root chakra Let that inhale carry that grounding energy all the way up your spine, all the way up that Sushumna out the top of your head. And then on your exhale, can you soften your face, soften your shoulders, soften your hips. So inhale, bring that stability, that grounding energy all the way up through your body. Exhale like a soft sweetness creeping from your head, your face, all the way down through the body, tapping deeper into that groundedness. And so be with that practice for a few rounds of breath on your own. Now inhaling up stability, groundedness, earthy energy all the way up your body. Exhaling to release into the soft sweetness of Taurus energy. Let it wash all the way down like you were growing longer roots below you on each exhale. Inhale like you're bringing that nourishing energy up through your body. Exhale like you're rooting down deeper into it. And then when you feel sufficiently stable and still, and like you're enveloped in this soft sweetness, and then can you then tap into perhaps like this golden quality? Perhaps it's like the sun shining down on you, or perhaps you feel it somewhere in your body. So whether you feel it coming from internally or externally, can you let that warm, golden, glowing energy grow with each inhale? Maybe it's like soft sun rays shining down onto you, or maybe it's growing from your heart center or your root. Whatever it is, with each inhale, can you grow this golden abundance, and each exhale, root deeper into it. Letting each breath be a ritual of creativity and abundance, and rooting deeper into that creativity and abundance. And then when you feel sufficiently enveloped in this warmth, golden sunlight, can you consider areas of your life where you might be feeling stuck or stagnant? And can you notice what comes up in your body when I say that? Do you notice anywhere in your body that feels stuck or stagnant right now? What immediately came to mind when I ask you about any areas of life that might not feel quite like they're glowing with warmth and abundance and soft sweetness? And can you just notice where that landed in your body? What did it bring up? And can you come back to that practice of inhaling to grow this golden light, to revel in it? Exhale to soften, to root down. Each breath an act of easefulness, easeful abundance. And can you let your awareness float gently to your heart center? And let an intention arise there. So maybe it's one of the themes we've been exploring in this practice, like golden abundance, easeful abundance, soft sweetness, stability, groundedness. Any of those things would be wonderful for this Taurus season we find ourselves in. It could be anything else that your heart desires. And then with an inhale, we'll bring one palm to the heart, doesn't matter which. Exhale, other palm to the back of that hand. And then inhale, inflate your heart center with breath, with awareness, with intention. Exhale and send your intention out into the ethers. So we'll take 2 more breaths like that, inhaling to fill your awareness with your intention, fill your heart space with your attention and intention. And exhale to send it out where you intend it to go. One more breath like that, filling up and letting go. That concludes our Taurus season guided meditation practice. Thank you so much for joining me. Take good care of yourself.